Hello, welcome to my video. In this video I'm going to cover the game between Daniil Dubov and Vidit Gujrathi. It was a really interesting game, really sharp. Again, Dubov showed his excellent preparation, excellent ideas which he had, and let's get to it. We had the Italian game. And now d3, bishop c5 and c3. Now black tries to develop by d6, still stays flexible, doesn't castle immediately, and white goes bishop g5 here, pinning the knight, and black tries to kick this bishop away immediately by h6, bishop h4, and now he goes for a5. a5 stops the expansion on the queen side by b4, but the downside of a5 is of course leaving the b5 square weaker. And now I think I never saw a move like that before. Dubov plays knight a3 here, already trying to punish this a5 move, trying to get to b5, but also as the b plan he might go to c2, trying to get d4. And here, because the bishop is on c5, Vidit just takes on a3, b takes a3. The pawn structure is shattered on the queen side, but there's also some potential with this open b file to provoke some weaknesses by b6, making these light squares much weaker. Vidit plays queen e7 and now Dubov castles. After which Vidit makes rearrangement of his pieces. Now he goes knight b8. He goes to d7, which is less approachable to white's pieces. This was the moment for Dubov to play d4, to strike in the center, and knight bd7. Here it's more flexible. It can go also to b6 at some point, and in general it's better here than on c6 because it's also supporting the knight on f6. Now rook b1, and Vidit chose to play g5 to somehow free his pieces. With g5 he's going to capture on e4 in the next move. So Dubov plays bishop g3 and knight e4. After which queen c2 was played. Here Vidit plays f5. Black is a pawn up, but still it's not clear where the king is going to go. If he goes back to f6, there is always some unpleasantness connected with capturing on e5 and going rook e1, or just immediately capturing like this, capturing twice, and this position doesn't look really pleasing for black. Also, there is one nice line. If black captures on g3, now if white captures with the h-pawn, then black has the opportunity to block the center by e4, and if he goes here, then f5 is possible, and somehow black gets into the safety zone with knight f6 next, d5, and this center is going to be blocked. But after knight g3, there is fg as a possibility, and now the f file is opened and the f7 square is under lots of pressure. And now if black tries to block with e4, there is knight e2 and there's no f5 because rook can take on f5. So after fg, there is knight b6, but there are some very complex lines with bishop f7, queen f7, knight e5, and in the end I think it should result in the perpetual check after queen h7, queen e2. Now there are threats like queen h5 or some discovered check with knight c6, knight g6, and if black takes, queen e5, it looks really scary for black, but I think in the end it just results into a perpetual. After rook b1, I think white will have at least queen e6, queen f6 perpetual. So Vidit, I think, plays reasonably well here. He plays f5. And now Dubov tries to open up the position by d5, d5, and now rook fe1. He wants to go bishop d3 or just to go knight d2 to somehow open up the position. Also bishop d5 comes as a possibility to attack both b7 and d4. Also in some cases a move like rook e4 is possible to capture on e4 and to open up everything. Because let's say if you go c6 here or some random move, takes, queen e4. Now queen g6 is a big threat. Also, white can afford to play slowly here because his pieces are so cramped that they don't have enough time to regroup. If the knight moves, then bishop e5 is also an option, knight e5 as well. Black has to do something really quickly, and he takes on g3, hg, and now e4, because the f5 pawn was under attack here, and if the knight moves, then rook e5 is killing black. So e4 is the only reasonable move here. And now Dubov plays g4, tries to somehow disconnect those pawns on f5 and e4. And now the f5 pawn is struck. Now Vidit plays knight c5, tries to hold on to the e4 pawn. Now knight d4 by Dubov, and rook d8, trying to control this f5 pawn as much as possible. Now Dubov takes on f5, bishop takes, and now a really nice move by Dubov. He plays rook b7, sacrificing the rook. And the point is that if knight takes on b7, then there is first bishop b5 check, and there's no king d8 because of knight c6. And if bishop d7, there is always rook e4, taking the queen. So with bishop b5, king has to go to f7, and then knight captures bishop, and this position looks really uncomfortable for black. And that's something that Vidit wanted to avoid. So after capturing on b7, black went with rook f6. He's freeing f8 square for his king in case some check happens, like bishop b5 in this case. And here Dubov continues to sacrifice. He plays queen b1. He leaves this rook for free. In this position it was possible to go for rook b5, attacking the knight, and always having some ideas like knight f5, rook e4. For example, if black plays c6, there is knight f5, and if rook f5, to capture an e4. And if queen takes, knight takes, and in the end white ends up being a pawn up, but I don't think it's very promising to white. Since he has these double pawns on the a file, black can capture on c3 at any time. Also, the material is reduced, so there is a big chance that this is going to be a draw. He went on to play sharp, and he played queen b1. Now Vidit takes on b7, takes, and now rook d8. Rook has to escape somehow. If knight c6, I think there is bishop c8. The knight on c6 is really not in the good spot, and if queen b5, there is bishop d7. And then the bishop takes on c6, or if knight e7, let's say, then bishop b5, and both pieces are under attack. But after this, here Dubov took on f5, rook takes, and rook e4. And now the only move besides rook e5 is to give a check first. King h2, and now he went for rook e5. Now the king is still in some danger. First, Dubov makes one check, gives it on c6. King cannot go to f8 because white takes on h6 and plays queen h8 next. After this, queen h8 and takes the rook on the next move. So king has to go to d7 because a move like rook d7 pins the rook on d7, and it's not really something you want. Also, after rook d7 there is queen g6, and after king d8 there is this check. After queen e8 you take on e5, and you use the fact that the queen is pinned, so it cannot capture on e5. So the only move is king d8. And now I believe that the most unpleasant move here was to go bishop d5, threatening this checkmate on a8. And the only move that saves the game, it was queen d6. And now it would be great if the king was, let's say, on h3 here. Then we would have queen e8, rook e8, rook e8. But because the king is on h2, this is actually a check, discover check. And this queen e8 doesn't work. But fortunately for white, he would have queen a8, and after king e7, to go queen e8, king f6, queen h8, check. Now if king e6, there is bishop c4, and king has to step away from the rook on e5, and he's losing the rook on the next move. So king f5 is the only move. And now there is queen h7, and things end in perpetual check. Because black cannot do anything, he cannot go queen g6 because rook e5 hangs. So he would have to repeat moves and this would be a draw. But he chose this one, which is also okay. Queen a8, king d7, and now bishop b5. King goes to e6, of course, because king d6 leads to a checkmate on c6. King e6, and now queen c8. Queen g8 was also very good. And after king f5 to go queen c8. And king cannot capture on e4 because of this check. King d5, queen c4 check, and checkmate on c6 finally. So again, this would be a perpetual, because after king f6 there is queen h8, and this would just be repetition of moves. If rook e6, there is a very unpleasant move, rook e3, keeping things under tension and going for bishop c4 next. And I think that black has to be satisfied with the perpetual here. But he went for queen c8, still it's okay. King f6. If king goes to d5, the king stays in the danger and it's not easy to continue. I think that here white can play rook c4. The king is just not really safe in this case. King e6, Dubov plays queen c8, and now he goes to f6. Queen h8 check, king f5, and now the only way to make a draw in this position was to go queen c8, the idea I have shown before. And if king takes, then there is this checkmate on c6 in the end. And if he goes to f6, there is this check. The cycle repeats. After this, that, if queen e6, there is also this check. And again, you cannot capture on e4 because of queen f3 check. And after king g6, bishop e8, and now white gets some material back. In the game, instead of queen c8, he went for f3, which was a huge mistake in the time trouble, and now Vidit took on e4, takes, king takes, and now the king runs towards the first rank. Dubov gives a check on a8, but king just goes to e3, bishop c6 by Dubov, because he anticipates this check with g3 and bishop g2 maybe, to somehow defend this position. But after this check, g3, now there is g4 by Vidit. Very nice move. He wants to go queen h5, queen h3 next. And after this check on a7, Vidit goes to d2, and in this position Dubov resigned because he cannot stop getting checkmated or exchanging queens, like in the case of queen f2, queen e2. Unfortunately for Dubov, he missed a chance to deliver perpetual. Maybe he missed the mating idea, which stops Vidit to capture the rook on e4, and that's why he played f3 instead. So that was it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I see you soon. Bye.